TBV Vortex Chapter 14 drops some absolute bombshells. Shikamaru's role as Hokage is on ropes, and there is a brewing civil war inside of Konoha. Jira's true form is finally revealed as we find out the root of his power, and we are starting to see Ada's omnipotence slowly fall apart. But it seems as though we are finally taking a step back from the action and starting to delve into a slightly more information based part of the story. Anyways, chapter 14 kicks off with Boruto in the infamous Konoha interrogation room, the same room in which Amada was interrogated after betraying Kara. As Boruto wakes up, we see Konohamaru and Ibiki both in the room as Konohamaru draws Boruto's attention to the handcuffs on his hands. He goes on to explain that these handcuffs are sealing handcuffs created by Amado, meaning Boruto can't use any hand signs whilst using them. Boruto then goes on to ask about whether everyone is safe, as well as what happened to the invading Shinju. Now this is extremely important to Boruto's character, as it is shown to Konohamaru and the others watching in on this conversation that Boruto's priority has and always will be to protect the village and those he loves. A trait which Kawaki, the guy they all think he is, did not have. So we can certainly see here how the seeds are being planted for certain people to start questioning their own memories, which will be a huge theme later in this chapter as well, and you can see the sort of direction TBV Vortex is heading, with a split between those who start to doubt their memories and those who are unable to overcome omnipotence. We then cut to the hospital where Sakura is healing Inogen, who is currently unconscious. Now I personally love to see Sakura back in the series, as it's a clear indication that we are finally going to finally get their deserved screen time. And I've been banging on and on about this for a while now, but if you've noticed, towards the end of Boruto Part 1, there was literally no showing of anyone besides Boruto, Kawaki and the villains at the time, which I know annoyed a lot of people as it gave the story a lack of depth, as it seemed the whole show revolved around 3 or 4 characters. Anyway, Sakura is astonished at Himari's healing capabilities, and she says the wound itself was completely healed due to Himari's ability, and the only problem was his chakra flow was severed, but since Sakura is an elite healer, she can just reintroduce that chakra flow into Inogen's wound, and he will eventually make a full recovery. But the fact that Sakura was amazed at Himari's healing capabilities actually suggests that perhaps Himari is going to be one of the greatest healers we have ever seen in the series thus far. And I say this because Sakura saw the healing capabilities of Naruto using his Biju cloaks, but seeing Himari's healing capabilities, it seems as though this healing is something that she has never seen before, which goes back to that idea that Himari's affinity with the Nine Tails is the greatest of all prior Jinchuriki, and hence why her innate healing capabilities exceed even Naruto's. And I think all of this focus on her healing is kind of setting up for what kind of character Himari is going to become. And I think they want to give her the same role that Sakura had in the Team 7 trio, where you had Naruto and Sasuke as the heavy hitters, but then you also had Sakura, who could not only heal them, but also hit somewhat hard herself. So I think Himari is definitely being set up to become one of those support characters that still has the potential to step up in combat if he needs to, which if I'm totally honest is perfect for her kind of character. As someone who isn't naturally violent and has such a peaceful nature, it means that she can sit back and avoid confrontation and violence by healing people, but at the same time she can still step up if she needs to protect her loved ones. We also see Ino looking down on Inogen, looking extremely concerned, and it seems as though she's regretting or pondering about something, and we will see why that is important later. But cutting back to the interrogation, we see Konohamaru getting straight to the point by saying to Boruto that they need to have a little chat since it has been a very long time since everything went down. We then see the 2 elders who are also involved in this sort of interrogation. They essentially ask Boruto who exactly are the guys targeting the village, and why are they only targeting certain people. Boruto explains that these guys are 10 tails but with a consciousness, and that the chakra of the Shinju reflects the person devoured by the claw grime. He explains that Hidari, the guy that he literally just shat on, resembled Sasuke, and that he saw Matsuri's original form was in fact Moegi. Boruto then warns Konohamaru that Matsuri's target is in fact him, which kind of shocks Konohamaru, and this is clearly setting up for my boy Konohamaru to maybe, just maybe, get his first ever dub. With the inevitable fight of Konohamaru versus Matsuri, I just pray that my boy Konohamaru can beat the allegations and finally do something meaningful. Otherwise, I'm not kidding when I say this guy should have just died to pain, because he ain't done nothing for the story ever since. But it's extremely interesting that Boruto refers to Konohamaru here as his sensei, something which also happened when Boruto first encountered him in chapter 12, which even back then caught Konohamaru off guard. However, I think Konohamaru is going to be one of those characters who actually won't be able to overcome omnipotence. And I say that due to how down bad he was for Ada in part 1. This guy literally fainted just at the sight of his favourite OnlyFans model. Like, Jesus Christ, Konohamaru, just get a grip. But in part 1 of Boruto, Amado said that different people were affected differently by omnipotence, and how potent the effect is on an individual varies significantly from person to person. And that's why I believe that there's going to be a divide between people in Konoha, as certain people will be able to overcome it whereas others won't. And this will continue until we have a definitive split, and hence why at the start of the video I said there was a brewing civil war. Anyways, before this interrogation even started, we see a conversation between Ada, Damon and Kawaki, to which Damon keeps reiterating the fact that the more and more people talk to Boruto, the more people are going to start to realise that something is definitely wrong, and Kawaki has in fact lied and deceived them all. Damon says that Boruto could easily spill the truth, and he questions Kawaki, saying if everyone finds out Boruto didn't kill the Hokage, and this whole isolation from the village is all just a lie made by Kawaki, how will everyone react? Nah, this kid has some audacity, but he knows full well that Kawaki can't do anything to him. And he says all of this with a constant smirk on his face, because he knows full well he can say whatever he wants, and Kawaki just gotta sit there and take it. And it seems as though Damon has been doing this throughout the whole time skip, since Kawaki has shown a clear disliking and annoyance towards Damon, as if Damon has been calling him out on his BS this whole time. Ada tells Damon to stop bringing this up, and not to make fun of Kawaki, clearly showing she's still down bad for Kawaki. So maybe I was slightly wrong about Boruto getting that cheeky upgrade on her OnlyFans, as after 3 years she still has not lost sight on getting with Kawaki. Kawaki tries his best to respond to these allegations, saying that it won't change anything even if Boruto does tell the truth, since Boruto is the cause of Naruto's disappearance due to him still being a threat of being taken over by Momoshiki, as Kawaki still views Boruto as a monster rather than his brother. So you can see that kind of split in ideologies, as Boruto sees Kawaki as his brother, whereas Kawaki has no regard for Boruto and couldn't care less about killing him. Kawaki says Momoshiki will inevitably take over Boruto's body, and he says that he's going to kill Boruto still, but before that can happen, he wants to put out as much information about the Shinju as possible in order to protect Naruto, as he knows even if Boruto goes, Naruto is still in danger of the Shinju. Anyways, Amado then jumps in on the interrogation, saying that the original purpose of the Ten Tails is to devour Notsuki and plant roots into the planet in order to drain all of its life force. And that essentially produces the chakra fruit. But he says that since the Ten Tails has gained intelligence, it no longer instinctually just wants to devour whatever is in its path, and the Shinju have grown curious and want knowledge and experience, rather than just acting on pure instincts. So by devouring their targets, they are not only just looking for the chakra or to cultivate a tree, they actually want to gather more and more information about certain individuals, which we've seen from Juro constantly, as his one and only goal is to get information rather than only devour his target, which differs from the other Shinju who just have that one mindset of devour, devour, devour. Boruto explains that their leader and the one coordinating all of this is Juro, who is an incarnation of the Ten Tails itself, and he also explains that Juro's strength is in a class of its own. Also, the fact that he does not originate from a prototype like Hidari and the rest of them, and he's literally just an incarnation of the Ten Tails itself. Boruto refers to him as the root cause of the crisis. Boruto explains that if they literally defeat Juro, then the crisis will be over, as the other Shinju rely on Juro to give them a clear-cut goal, and they themselves have no intention of gathering information, and they would just fall apart without Juro. So it's extremely interesting here that Juro does not actually have an original vessel, as myself and a lot of people assumed that he actually originated from Ishiki or Jigen, hence his overwhelming power over the rest of the Shinju. But this really throws a spanner in the works for all of you scalers out there, as unless someone like Amado or Boruto gives a statement about how strong Juro is compared to someone like Ishiki or Baryon Naruto, or even Shibai the Otsutsuki god, then there is no way to really scale Boruto compared to anyone else before Boruto 2 do Vortex. Anyways, logically, Konohamaru asked about how Boruto got all of this information, something they have all been asking him for some time now, as Boruto kind of stares blankly towards Konohamaru. As Konohamaru gets more aggressive and starts to push further, and Boruto still just gives no real response. After a little bit more pushing, Boruto finally just says that he got all of his information from one source, and their identity for their safety cannot be revealed. And we see a panel of Amado looking both confused and concerned. So the kind of implications we have here is Boruto cannot tell them about Kashin Koji because of Amado. Meaning, I presume Kashin Koji has seen into the future where Boruto willingly revealed his identity, which caused Amado to put the pieces together and hunt down Kashin Koji. Since Amado created him, he'll probably have a shutdown program installed like he has in all of the other cyborgs. And if Kashin Koji gets shut down, then Boruto and their world is truly screwed. Konohamaru then goes on to say that unless Boruto tells them how he got his info, then the information he provides them with is completely useless as it lacks any real validity. Boruto then says that they want to kill him, but he is only alive because of the information that he's obtained. Anyways, the elders step in and say that Boruto needs to chill out and remember that he is still a rebel. And whatever he says isn't going to change anything, as they believe that their power is enough to stop Jiraiya and all of the other enemies of Konoha. And they say they will simply just kill Boruto as well, viewing him as the exact same entity as Jiraiya and the other Shinju, an enemy of Konoha. And that essentially Boruto ain't leaving this room alive. No matter what he says, no matter what he does, his death is imminent. I've said this before, but these guys need to realize that they literally witnessed what Jiraiya did to some of their strongest, or potentially the strongest of their forces. He no-diffed full power Kawaki, and he went around beating everyone up. So unless they think Damon is about to hold the burden of the entire village, which Damon won't because he couldn't care less about Konoha, they would all be screwed. And we're seeing that stubbornness we saw these elders have from Naruto, as they are oblivious and naive about the severity of their situation. They then ask Boruto about why he killed Naruto, a major question. But before he answers, we cut to Shikamaru, who's having some serious internal conflict, and he's fighting literal demons inside of his mind about whether Boruto is who he says he is. He's going back and forth about Boruto and Kawaki, and we finally see his resolve to believe Boruto, but it comes at a grave cost. He wants to save Boruto, but we will see how that will come to bite him later in this chapter. Anyways, we see a conversation between Boruto and Kashin Koji before Boruto answers their question, where Kashin Koji tells Boruto he has to continue to take blame for Kawaki's actions, for the purpose of the blank effect. Now blank is just a placeholder because there is literally no word here, instead just a blank line. So hopefully we will get more information on what this effect actually is, but Boruto is being instructed specifically to keep everyone believing that Kawaki is him, and Boruto is the one who committed these crimes. As the whole reason for this effect was Kawaki getting driven into a corner, so if they can prevent this happening again, they shouldn't have another omnipotence occur. Boruto then explains to them that he did not kill anyone, and that Naruto is still alive, just in a safe place with Hinata. Everyone is shocked by this, and we see everyone's reaction. Donut Elder asks where he hid him, as if he was about to go, oh yeah, I put him over there, you can just go grab him whenever you want. Like, I get you're getting old, but Jesus Christ, these brothers need to step down immediately. Coming out with all of these dumbass questions all the time. I don't know what on earth is going through these guys' heads. Anyways, we also see Ada's reaction, which gives us a stark contrast in the reactions of those with context or the truth of what happened, and those who are hearing it for the first time. So you can kind of see that major difference in reactions, which seemed very intentional by the writers, as it all comes on the same page as if to directly show that contrast. The elders obviously don't believe him and accuse Boruto of lying, to which Boruto is just like, I haven't told you guys a single lie. And this obviously rattled Ibiki, who is extremely angry at this point after hearing Boruto lie about Naruto, as he kind of thinks that Boruto is just spitting in their face and making fun of them about what he did to Naruto. And then he starts slamming Boruto and punching and slapping him, basically taking out all of his frustration, saying he's wanted to do this for the past 3 years now. We see Boruto is just kind of taking it and almost mocking Ibiki as he starts to bleed from the mouth. As Boruto says to him, imagine having free time, just going to show how relentlessly he trained during the time skip. But while this is all going on, we can see Shikamaru get very concerned by this, as he obviously wants to keep Boruto alive at all costs, since he knows Boruto is almost definitely the key for them, as he is not exactly what they think he is. He then gets in touch with Ino, asking about Inogen, obviously trying to soften the blow of what he's about to ask her. But Ino sees through this and asks if he is on about Boruto. And Shikamaru's like, yes, you've called my bluff. And he asks Ino to get a direct communication in private with Boruto, as Ino asks whether that's a direct order from him as a Hokage, saying she told him before that this form of communication is a violation, and that Shikamaru has already broken 5 rules as a result of this. Shikamaru starts getting worried and said this is a top secret mission and he can only rely on Ino right now. Ino then says she is worried about him and why he's being so supportive of Boruto the fugitive, and she says she really just cannot understand Shikamaru. Shikamaru then gets on his hands and knees and starts pleading, saying he isn't even asking as a Hokage at this point, but as a friend. And Ino finally says she is done with helping Shikamaru, and that her involvement with all of this situation is finally over. This is absolutely massive for the future of their story, as it's definitely set in stone now that there will be a divide coming and we are starting to see already who is going to be on which side in this chapter, as it is extremely likely that Boruto and Shikamaru are going to end up having to find a new way to communicate and figure out a plan going forward. Anyways, Ibuki is still beating the crap out of Boruto, and Shikamaru jumps in and suggests that Boruto ain't gonna crumble over pain, and instead they're going to need to use poison, so he suggests that they should use Mitsuki. Konohamaru is concerned, saying that Mitsuki is gonna see Boruto and is on site there and then. And if they really do that, Mitsuki will take off Boruto's head before they can get any more information out of him. But Shikamaru's like, nah, I'm the Hokage, get this guy here now. And Ada just looks in on this, which tells me that she is aware of what is about to happen. But she says to Kawaki and Damon that Boruto has no intention of revealing the truth about this, and he is trying to protect Kawaki's position in Konoha. And Damon's like, what the hell is going on? And says, why did it go like this? Why isn't Kawaki getting exposed? So it's clear that Damon doesn't trust Kawaki's intention with his sister, and he just doesn't want Kawaki to end up with Ada, as we know his main goal is to protect Ada, and hence why he's constantly hoping to drive Kawaki away, and also why he hoped Boruto would reveal the truth and to get rid of Kawaki, to make Ada set her sights on someone else. We then come back to the interrogation where Shikamaru tells Mitsuki that they are all ninjas and this is a mission, and he needs to control his emotions at all costs. And then Shikamaru daps him up, as Mitsuki enters the room and Konohamaru can see the murderer's intent straight away and voices his concern to Mitsuki to chill the hell out. But Boruto instigates this and says, are you stupid enough to still be looking for your son? And Mitsuki is like, nah, what did you just say? And enters sage mode straight away. And this guy clotheslines Boruto as Ibuki tries to jump in and get Mitsuki off Boruto straight away. But this was all just a facade, and Mitsuki's snakes unlock the handcuffs and tells Boruto where his stuff is being stored. And Boruto, before flying off, drops his final message, which he isn't going to be hostile to any of them, and he will continue to provide them with any necessary information, and it's up to them how they handle that information, and he just teleports away. Konohamaru is confused straight away and jumps to the conclusion that Mitsuki must have been the one to unlock Boruto's handcuffs. But he then overwrites that idea in his head and says Shikamaru, Ibuki, and himself are the only ones to know the 4-digit code, and there is no other way to undo the handcuffs without that code itself. As well as the fact that Mitsuki would have no intention of helping Boruto, so he puts it down to Amada's faulty technology. Alright, so let's just dissect what the hell has gone on there. So essentially Shikamaru slipped a piece of paper to Mitsuki before he went into the room with the code of the handcuffs on it, hence why we saw them sort of have that handshake before going into the interrogation room. But the most insane part is, why on earth is Mitsuki helping Boruto, and did Boruto already know that this would happen? So Boruto had no reason to instigate Mitsuki here, but by doing it, it gave Mitsuki a reason to attack Boruto and use his snakes to free him, kind of suggesting that maybe Boruto already knew and had planned this with Shikamaru. But then you also have Ada, who we saw watching Shikamaru give the piece of paper to Mitsuki, and this is all starting to come together. Since if you remember in chapter 8, Mitsuki and Ada spoke about Mitsuki's son, and how he's starting to doubt if Kawaki is truly the son he desires, and Ada said that she wants to have a long talk with Boruto. So maybe these three schemed to free Boruto from execution, meaning Mitsuki and Ada can now both talk to Boruto, and Shikamaru got what he wanted by freeing Boruto from his execution, which shows that the Free Up Boruto party is slowly but surely growing. As so far we have got Shikamaru, Sarada, Sumire, Ada, Damon and Mitsuki, all seemingly on Boruto's side. I also think Ada had some part in this, as she literally was shown seeing what happened inside of that room. And it's clear that Mitsuki must have had a conversation beforehand with Shikamaru to know exactly what he was supposed to do, since Ino can't have made a transmission since he was refusing to do so anymore, meaning that Ada must have either been there during the creation of these plans, because if she wasn't involved then she would have probably told Kawaki and tried to prevent this from happening, unless she did see all this happen and she just wanted Boruto to escape. Either option is very viable. But my logic here is, if Shikamaru knew that she could have seen this, he wouldn't have taken the major gamble that Ada would tell anyone else. And taking major gambles is very uncharacter-like for Shikamaru. Anyways, Boruto grabs his stuff by using Flying Raijin, and it's just like, you guys guarded my stuff, don't worry, I may have just cooked you, but it ain't your fault that you are just too weak for this. But Boruto, you really didn't need to do him that dirty, come on now. Mitsuki then apologizes and Konohamaru actually blames Shikamaru, and the elders are also angry at Shikamaru, and this is why I said that his role as Hokage is currently on ropes. Much like Sasuke, if Shikamaru decides that he is Team Boruto, and if that becomes public knowledge, he too will become a fugitive. And the seeds are slowly being planted with people starting to put the pieces together that Shikamaru is in fact working alongside Boruto, meaning that when the truth inevitably comes out, he will also have to flee Konoha, meaning Boruto will essentially lose his inside man, meaning Konoha might fully be screwed if that were to happen. But hey, at least Kakashi will become Hokage again, meaning more Kakashi screen time. Let's go, guys. Anyways, the final part of the chapter is in the Hokage room, where Sarada and Sumire are basically fighting the Jonin just to get inside of the Hokage office. But Shikamaru's like, guys, I know you're down bad for Boruto, but honestly just give it a rest. Shikamaru tells them that Boruto ran away, and Sarada just kind of stands there shocked as if to say, my future husband just ran off without saying goodbye? She was not happy, I can tell you that for free. Anyways, moving on, we see Kankuro enter a direct communication with Shikamaru, but he reveals that Gaara was actually defeated as well as Shinki. Shikamaru is very confused as Kankuro explains that Shinki was turned into a tree, but they are both still alive, but they need Konoha's strength in order to rescue them. We then cut to the new Shinju, who is looking hella dripped out. My boy Shinki needs to take notes once he gets restored. If he decides to take the Shinju style, he could look cold as hell. Anyways, the final page is Jiro just being like, how are you feeling, Ryu? Which I've already discussed my initial thoughts behind what this actually means. So if you want to go back and see that, then you can just go check out the 3-minute video I did of the sneak peek 2 of Boruto Chapter 14. But it seems as though we are finally getting to see one of the OG Naruto style missions, where it seems as though they're going to send possible people like Sarada, Mitsuki, and Kawaki to go fight this Shinju, which would be awesome to see, since we never got to see anything like this, where Boruto or whoever the main focus of the story is at the time, take a back seat and let some of the other people take the spotlight. So we are likely heading into a mission styled part of the story, where we see a few ninja go on a mission to the Sand Village in order to save Shinki. And maybe, just maybe, this is finally where we get to see Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan. And I promise you, this time it is not copium. I mean, I'm just saying, this would be the perfect place for something like that to happen. But we should get to see everyone fight at full strength here, and we will get to see where the likes of Sarada and Mitsuki scale in terms of Boruto's power scaling. Anyways, with that all said, this is where the chapter ends. So as always, make sure to leave your thoughts on the chapter and all of that good stuff in the comments down below. Make sure to smash the like button if you did enjoy, as it helps push this video out to more and more people. Also, if you want to see more Boruto content and some more manga coming soon, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss when I make more Boruto videos in the future, and it helps out the channel massively. And I appreciate all the support I've gotten recently, it does not go unnoticed. But with that all said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.